One of the projects I've been involved in is called Agriculture in Africa, Telling Facts from Myths. The origins of this project lie in the fact that a lot of what we think we know may not be as accurate if you look at the data. And there was a big opportunity to do this, given that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded a large data collection effort on agriculture in Africa a couple of years ago. We have been using this data to look at a number of so-called wisdoms, such as that modern input use is quite low in Africa, such that women do all the work in Africa, such as youth is leaving agriculture en masse. And we just ask ourselves the question, are these myths, are these wisdoms, do they stand up to the data? And that's what we have been doing with a big team of researchers from all across the world. The core of this project, sort of in a more general sense, in addition to the actual facts which we look at, and there are about 16 across 6 plus 2 countries. 2 more countries have been added since we started. So across this whole range of topics, the results of which you can find on the website, I think there are a couple of more general points which emerge. One, it is important to look at basic facts. And I think this sort of a message more broadly, talking to the audience, the academic audience in this conference, is that academia doesn't really reward establishing facts. It's all about causality, establishing causality, and just writing a paper which brings some novel facts won't get you a good publication in a good journal. And as a result, academia in many ways is sort of sidestepping that process, and as a result may also be losing a little bit of its relevance by doing that for the broader policy debates. So that's number one. That's one key lesson which comes out of this project. The second one is the critical importance of national representativity, meaning often we work with case studies because that's where we can collect data, and often these case studies, they don't come about as such. They are basically purposefully selected. We go to a certain area because we do think that there is something going on in the topic we are interested in. Think post-harvest loss. If you're going to try to measure post-harvest loss, you're not going to go to an area where you think there's not going to be any post-harvest loss. You're bound to go to an area where this is conceived to be a problem. If you then scale up, if you then generalize from these case studies, which are going to be published in the literature, and you sort of go from there and then try to generalize and make a more general statement about the amount of post-harvest loss, you're bound to find overestimates of the total amount of post-harvest loss. So that's sort of the second key point, that it is important, this basic notion of statistically representativity at the national level, to be able to say something more general. We know that that's not novel, but looking at this data, again, I think in the findings, so some of the wisdoms we rebut, drives that point home very much, that we need to be careful not to overgeneralize from case studies. Now we want to go to the second phase of this project, to basically look more in depth and try to get more causal. A critical component of that, in addition to going more causal, is also trying to doing a deliberate effort in bringing more young African scholars into the process to also build the capacity, strengthen the capacity further to analyze these data. And with that, we hope to help overcome the challenge on how to double our global food supply by 2050. Thank you.